Okay. So something I've been thinking about a lot, because it was something I actually studied in one of my sociology courses, was industry and the effects that revolution, right, the industrial revolution had on societies. And I think we've focused so much on the supposed benefits of it, such as jobs and economy, etc., that the actual truth behind such a large industrial system creates a desensitization. Now, if you follow the patterns, I want you to think about it, right? As soon as the Industrial Revolution came and we started getting these giant factories where people started not becoming people, right? You weren't a craftsman anymore. You were just a piece in a machine, right? You no longer were an individual. You were just a thing. First, that starts. People start going in, they literally clock in, clock out. They start wearing uniforms. They start having to meet codes. They start having to have regulations, right? Systems. No longer are they needing to be my brain has two words. Have you ever done that? My brain has two words and it's trying to blend them. So it won't come out. I give up. Anyways, they don't want you to be individuals. And the Industrial Revolution started to normalize this. Same with public schools and other big institutional based structures. They make it so that you are totally okay with being a part of a large system. And they start this at a young age, right? Schools, religion. No longer is there a family system. No longer is there a small community system. Everything is structurally massive. Industries, global, religion, unifying things that aren't really being unified, right? It's all lies, smokes and mirrors. And the more that people buy into the bullshit about how much industry has helped us, the more we kind of seem to be losing our humanity. I could get into the details and correlate all the different historical movements in the different societies and geographical locations, and even correlate the trends, the 50 to 100 years after the Industrial Revolution, how different things started to slowly deteriorate in systems. I have like a hair or something on my lip is driving me nuts. Anyways, that's why I need chapstick or I need lip gloss because my lips are dry, but I hate having it on because things stick to it. And I'm not like the demure kind of girl that keeps her face and her hands clean and doesn't get into mischief, so yeah. So yeah, and I think that the more I kind of focus my pattern recognition on the concept of industry and the lack of craftsmanship, the lack of honoring and valuing individual craftsmanship and unique skills and abilities, I mean, I couldn't imagine how cool some of the things we'd have in this world would be if things like the local blacksmith or the local jeweler was, who actually handcrafted stuff was still a thing that actually was celebrated, honored, and valued, not just a fancy, very commercialized looking building that you go into and you never actually meet the craftsman. You never actually get to see the amazing skills and creative juices that they have, all that energy. And there's also something to say for things that have been handmade by somebody that puts their heart and soul and energy into it. Think about it this way. Everything has an energy, and this is why I have a hard time with medicine too. Because often when you take a home remedy, right, whether it's a home remedy from grandma or a home remedy from the neighbor lady next door, right, like she just knows which herbal teas to mix together, or she has a poultice that helps things heal. I mean, all of these things do genuinely work because medicine is based off of a lot of these natural plant medicines that are being used around the world. But industry has taken it to the point where instead of focusing on the energy and the intention in which these medicines are created, which is a huge reason as why these medicines work, a lot of these herbal or homeopathic remedies that naturally are made by people who gather the medicine, who process it with their hands, with the loving intent of helping and healing people, You're literally putting energy into things as you're creating them and making them. And that's what makes them work way more efficiently. And especially if someone can see the way you make your medicines or see the way you create whatever your craft is, that sense of belief in like, wow, look what they're doing. Not only does it make them value it more, it makes them more aware of the energy that was put into it so they can appreciate it and they can recognize what it is they're feeling. Industry has killed it. You can't tell me that you feel the love and the desire for you to get well inside of a tiny pill that has only taken out a certain part of a plant, a chemical compound, refined it, redesigned it, and pressed it into something with a bunch of other stuff to help it, synergize and actually be bioavailable, which, bioavailability is, again, individual and not necessarily 100% across the board. So if you absorb food is dependent on you and your beliefs. They're going to argue and they're going to say, well, your health, your gut, your, blah, 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 your genetics, your DNA. But we're going to simplify that and tell you it comes down to beliefs. Otherwise, there wouldn't be things like, that whole placebo effect. That wouldn't exist if your beliefs weren't a key controlling part to whether a medicine or anything works for you. I also have a hard time with these colors, right? People are always talking about, oh, your aura is this color, your aura is that color. Color is perception based on your brain, chemical reactions in your brain, as well as beliefs, etc., experiences, etc., etc. It's very individual. Sometimes when I pick something up and I feel energy in it, I will feel an emotion, or I'll feel a sensation in my body, or sometimes I'll see an image. Occasionally I'll see a color. It's different for everybody. So if you don't see colors, or you don't, right, maybe you'll hear a song, maybe you'll pick something up and you're like, a song will pop into your head, and then explore that song. How does the song make you feel? Does it bring you happiness, joy? Is it attached to a memory? And then you can start correlating those patterns. People call it divination. It's not divination in the sense of like ooh, witchy voodoo. It's your higher self is communicating to you and it's telling you things that you can't learn in a book. Industry has stolen that. Like when I'm making a herbal tea for myself, because I do make a lot of different teas to help reduce inflammation, help to cleanse my blood, cleanse my liver. My liver's a big one that needs a lot of cleansing because that was something that was generationally passed down. But when I'm making it, sometimes I'll get like these weird poof ideas in my head, like, oh, you should add a little of this, or you should add a little of that. And then I do, because my brain is thinking about the problem and my higher self is helping me. It's like, oh, well, this is going to help that problem. And so like an image will just pop into my head. And you just got to trust it. You just got to instinctually do that because it's an individualized medicine for the moment. So if a medicine woman or man is making a medicine for an individual person who they've met, they've experienced the energy of that person, they've felt them, they know what they are struggling with. When they make the medicine, it's intentionally for that person. They might modify it in a specific way for that person, and then it's really key, right? And it's the same thing with craftsmanship. It's the same thing with skills. So many people are bored because industry has stolen what brings them joy. Who values handmade shoes anymore? Like, this is something I wish was on the street. I think my kids would enjoy making shoes. I mean, what happened to having a place where your kids could apprentice, right? In any kind of a skill. I would love to be able to send my kids somewhere to apprentice because they would enjoy that more than public school. But I don't have anywhere to send them that I trust, that's not industry, regulated, monitored. Industry made it easier for the patriarch system to turn us into pieces instead of humans. We need to bring back humanity, which means we need to modify how industry functions. Anyways, those are just my thoughts. You can do what you want with them. I'm gonna go now. Okay, bye.